Welcome back to part 4 of the jeweler's carpet recovery video. Got a good night's rest and we're ready to go to work. It might be a lofty goal, but today I'm going to try to get a yield of the gold for the jeweler. Someone had asked about the specially fitted filter papers that I prepare. What I have here is a 12.5 centimeter Buchner funnel, an 11 centimeter Buchner funnel. Notice it fits in there nicely. So what we do is use the 11 centimeter Buchner funnel onto a piece of 24 centimeter filter paper, and I just go around it like this and fold it all the way around. And here we have the properly folded filter paper that will sit right down into our 12.5 centimeter funnel. In the comment section for part 4, someone asked why I didn't add sulfuric acid to these beakers to precipitate out lead. I did add it to this one. I didn't add it to this one or this one. And the reason that we're not, reason I added to this is out of force of habit, but we're still into the recovery process here. We're not refining yet. We're trying to recover the values out of this material still. And so recovery and refining are two different processes completely. And we're still in the recovery process. I'm going to choose the least likely to clog my filter to go through the filter first. This is our button that we parted with nitric and then dissolved in aqua regia. We'll pour that through first. Here we go. Next, we're going to pour through the beaker that had our little bits of metal in it. And the reason I'm choosing these two is because they have the least amount of solids in them. So let's go ahead and pour this in now right quick. Alright, you can see this one's still got plenty of solids in it. Look at all that gold in there. You can really see it. I might have to choose an alternate plan for that stuff. That's gold, obviously. The more I look at that, the more I'm thinking that we need to melt that into a button. So let's move this stuff out of the way now. We're going to bring up the behemoth and start pouring this material here, this solution, through our filter. Here we go. Seems to be pulling through fairly quickly. So what I'll do is we'll wait for this liquid to pull through the filter, and then I'll try to get all these solids up into the filter, and then we'll try to rinse all the gold off that we can and go from there. For this next segment of video, I'm going to use this polarized lens that my son-in-law got me, and this thing is awesome. So I've attached the case to my phone, and now we're going to try to line this thing up and get it installed here. It just clicks into place like so, and then now we can adjust the amount of light that gets to the lens on the iPhone. Well, I was so enthralled with the new lens. Here you see it, I'm adjusting it here. You see it getting lighter and darker. And I was so enthralled with the new lens that I forgot to turn the mic on. So what we're going to do is we're just going to try to scoop these solids and heap them into the filter. And then we'll try to rinse all of the gold solution off that's bound up by those solids as best we can. I've got a little bit of experience with the jeweler's scrap here, and what I've noticed is this first aqua regia extraction will yield the highest amount of gold from those solids. Probably over 90% of the gold will be recovered here in this first aqua regia boil. See if I can get the last bit of these solids into our filter. Let's get this little bit of gold and all down at the bottom of this beaker. I'm going to put that into a melt dish. And I think we're going to try to get it into a button and see where to go from there. Now we'll take this over to the melt table. And I'm going to try to melt this up into a button. I'm going to adjust the light filter here. Here we go. I'm going to adjust the light now with the polarized lens. Now we're going to test that button and see what we got for gold content. I'm going to rub a little 14K on this touchstone from my watch. We're going to rub the button right next to it. So we got two streaks, my watch 14K and the button. Let's put some acid on here. Now this is 14K test acid. There's my watch band. It never comes out right when you want it to. Alright, that streak is staying pretty strong with the 14K test acid. So it's pretty safe to conclude that this little button is 14K gold. Alright, the button weighs 6.2 grams. So we've got 6.2 times 0.583 equals, we've got 3.6 grams of pure gold in that button. So what we'll do is we'll just give the jeweler credit for 3.6 grams of pure gold in that button, rather than trying to go through all the process of putting it in acid, dissolving it, and adding it to the yield. We'll just present this to the jeweler and pay him based on 3.6 grams of pure gold. Pretty much got it all pulled through almost. Now what I'm going to do is add some hydrochloric acid. Try to rinse some more of the gold out of the solids. I've got all the liquid pulled off of our solids in our funnel up here. So now let's transfer the solids back out of the funnel into this beaker. There's probably still going to be a little bit more gold in here. Not much. It's usually the first extraction. You probably get like 90% of it. Here's our funnel, nice and clean. I'm adding some hydrochloric acid to the beaker. I want to try a second extraction. See if we can pull some more gold out. Like I said, there'll be a little bit of gold in here, but it's not going to be much. And it gets to the point, if you keep doing this over and over, you'll still get a little bit of gold. But you'll get diminishing returns. Going to add in a little bit of nitric acid here to form aqua regia. We'll push this back out of the way, add some heat, and then we'll start stirring this. And to try to break up the solids in there. Like I said, we might get a little bit more gold out of here, but not much. Boil it hard with high heat. Try to get a little bit more gold out of there. We'll rinse our funnel out real good with some distilled water. I've got a number 42 Wattman filter here. Add that to our funnel. Alright, we're going to take this filter flask, put it over here. Bring up a clean filter flask. Transfer the funnel. refilter this solution that we've recovered through a new filter. Here we go. This second extraction has been on boiling now for about 2 hours, and we've got all the solution pulled through this filter. So now let's go ahead and try to get our solution, our gold bearing solution, into a beaker for precipitation. Before I precipitate all the gold out of this solution, what we're going to do is transfer a little bit of it into this beaker, and I'm going to do a test precipitation. That's about 400 milliliters on a small amount, because I think we might be looking at having some excess nitric in here. There we go. Let's see what happens. Put another spoon in here and see what happens. I don't see a whole bunch of red fumes being formed. So it looks like we're going to be okay. All right, I'm going to do a quick Stannis test, see if we got all the gold out of here. I don't think we do. I still see yellow color. Well, maybe we got all the gold. That looks orange, which tells me we got platinum left in that solution, and all the gold looks like it's been dropped. All right, this was 400 milliliters of solution that we precipitated the gold out. Get an idea what we can expect from the rest of the solution. I've probably got had about 2 liters of solution, so didn't see a whole bunch of excess nitric. So let's go ahead and move over here to our big jar, and we're going to add some SMB to this jar. Before we do the precipitation, I'm going to reach in here with a piece of filter paper, and we'll do a Stannis test on this before we precipitate out the gold. You can see we've got a nice dark stain there. I'm going to start adding some stump out now. Probably won't be able to see too much here because of the solution being so dark. Here goes our first spoon of stump out. Alright, let's put another one in. third one. Stir it up a little bit here. Let's do another status test. See if we've got any more gold in this solution. Oh yeah, still got plenty of gold. Here we go. I'm going to add 2 more spoons to the solution. I'll stomp out. See if we can get the rest of this gold to come out of solution. Alright, let's do another status test. Let's see if we got all the gold out of there yet. Yeah, I think we've got all the gold. All I see is an orange stain now, which tells me the rest of this liquid is just got platinum in it now. All the gold has been dropped. I'm going to stir in 1 more spoon just to make sure. Now, we knew we had platinum group metals in here with our gold, and we're still trying to recover the gold out of here. So we haven't got to the refining process yet. Alright, I think what we're going to do is combine all the gold into this 1 beaker. It's a fair amount of gold from that one. I'm going to pour it all in here now. Let's see if we can get it all over to one side. Take a look at it here. Let's get set up to get our solids into a filter now. Back here. I've got the solids rinsed, cleaned. That's some hydrochloric acid I poured in there. And if you look down below, you'll see that our filtrate is running crystal clear and colorless. So now we've got all the extracted gold down here in this solution in the bottom of this flask. I've got all this gold in solution down here from this second extraction. Here's the solids. We're just going to save those. There'll be a little bit of gold in here, but not much, maybe a 1/4 to 1/2 gram. I'm just going to save those in a dish. And now what we'll do, let's rinse this out. Now what we'll do is we're going to pull up another flask. Put the funnel in here. Put Put in a filter paper. And now what we'll do is filter the solution a second time. We've got this second extraction pulled through the filter. Now what we'll do is transfer this liquid to a beaker. Let's get a stannous test on this solution. And you can see there's some gold in there, but not a whole lot, not like the first extraction that we got. Here we go, we're going to start adding some stump out now to precipitate out the pure gold. Here we go. Just going to start sprinkling it in there out of our jar here, a little bit at a time. Let's do a quick stannous test. You can see there, all the gold has been precipitated. Set up a filter flask now. And what we'll do is capture our gold in this filter. Let's see, let's wet this a little bit first. We've got a little bit of gold captured in the filter, and we've got a little bit in our beaker here. Maybe might be a half a gram or so. And this is the second extraction that we did. And like I pointed out before, you don't get very much. The first one's always the biggest and the most gold. If we tried to extract any more out of those solids, we'd even get less than this. Alright, next we're going to start filtering the gold out of this beaker. just had to get a shot of this. The liquid inside the flask is at ambient temperature, and it's boiling. And what I did is I tuned up my vacuum system, replaced a couple of fittings, replaced some hoses, and it made a world of difference. And the thing is back operating like it used to when I first started. This flask was full, so I needed to swap the flask out. And I've got a clean flask here. I'll bring it up, set it in the dish, and I'm going to connect the hose here. And then we'll pull the funnel off of the full flask. It's got some liquid in it still, so I got to be careful here. And we'll bring it over and put it onto the empty flask, get the vacuum established, and then continue pouring our solution through that filter to capture our gold. Solution back here, it's got platinum in it, a decent amount of platinum, but there's not enough there to try to go and recover it and refine it. So we'll just add it to the stock pot. Here's our gold down in the bottom of this beaker. I was predicting 3 troy ounces, but that sure don't look like 3 troy ounces to me. But you never know. You can be surprised sometimes. It's real fine, very fine particulate, and when we see it like that, it can be very deceiving. I mean, it looks like you got ripped off, and there's more gold there than you can than you think. All right, we finally got all the gold out of here, and into our filter. Finally got our gold in our filter here. Again, this is a waste solution with platinum in it. We're going to add that to the stock pot. It's not enough to try to refine and recover. Here's our gold. Looks pretty good. And I've seen it look like this. It's a very fine, like talcum powder. And the volume looks scrawny. But it turns out to be quite a bit of gold in there, more than you think. So I'm going to put it in this beaker now. Let's add some hydrochloric acid. Filled it up to about the 500 milliliter level. I'm going to add some sulfuric acid. A few drops just to precipitate out any lead that may be present. Okay, now we're refining. We've got all our gold in this one beaker. I'm going to set it back here on the heat. Now we're going to add some nitric acid to form aqua regia in there and redissolve the gold a second time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, this has been on boiling now for about 10 minutes. You can see we still got some gold that needs to dissolve. So we'll add a little bit more nitric acid in here to see if we can get the rest of that to go in solution. Okay, that was just a little bit of gold. So it shouldn't take much nitric acid. I'm going to add just a few drops here because it's real hot. It's going to want to flare up vigorously if we add it too quickly. There's just a few stubborn pieces of gold left in here. I'm not going to go chase it after those. We're going to pull it down off the heat now and let it cool down. I've added some ice to the gold solution. And now what we'll do is we're going to filter this now. Get out the filter paper. Here we go. There's a little bit of gold left up in the bottom of that beaker. It's getting late. I'm tired. And what we should probably do here is use ferrous sulfate, since I suspect there are platinum group metals in the solution. It's a burnt orange color rather than a bright orange color. It's nice and clear though. And to go for high purity, ferrous sulfate would be the proper choice. But I'd take another hour to get that all prepared and another hour to rinse all the ferrous sulfate off the gold. So we're just going to pour it in this beaker and do good old-fashioned sodium metabisulfite precipitation. Let's do a stannous test here. I mean, I know there's gold in here, but it's always a good idea to check it with stannous, especially if you're a new refiner. Before the precipitation, boom, dark stain verifies we got gold in solution. Alright, if I've got 3 ounces in here, then it's probably going to heat up when we do the when we add the SMB. So I'm going to go ahead and be on the safe side here and add some ice. Wow, it exploded. Keep this thing cool while we precipitate out the pure gold. Here we go. We're going to put in a spoon of the SMB, aka stump out. First spoon going in right now. Boom. Let me give this a stir. And we're going to add another spoon of SMB. Looks like all the gold has been precipitated with just 2 spoons of SMB. Let's get a little on our filter paper here. No, we still got a little gold in solution. I'm adding another spoon of the SMB. Here we go. Reach in for another Stannis test here. This should do it. If there's still gold in there, I'll be surprised. Yeah, everything's out of solution now. All the gold has been precipitated. Oh yeah, we got a pretty decent amount down there. Does not look like 3 ounces though. Looks like it might be maybe 50 grams. Let's pour off our waste solution now. It's settled pretty much here. Get our gold out of here. Here's a look at it. We're going to add some hydrochloric acid and give it a boil and some hydrochloric acid. Allowed it to boil for about 10 minutes. Now we're going to pour this off into our waste container. I'm going to give it another rinse with a little hydrochloric acid, just some fresh hydrochloric in there. It's not looking too bad. Gonna rinse it off with some fresh water, distilled water actually. Try to get all the acid rinsed off that I can. It's not looking too bad for a single refining. Here's how it looks after we've boiled it in some hydrochloric acid. Now we're going to transfer the gold into a melt dish. Take it over to the melt table. We're going to melt this up into a nice little bar now. Here's our little bar of gold. Wow, this thing is dazzling. No traces of contamination. It came out really nice. Let's see what we got for a weight on this thing. I was expecting 3 ounces, which is like 93 grams. We got 58.8 grams of pure gold. Plus we got our 14K button here. And we'll give him credit for 3.6 grams. So we got 58.8 plus 3.6 grams, because there's 3.6 grams of pure gold in this button. I just didn't refine it. So we're going to give the jeweler credit for 62.4 grams of pure gold as a total yield of pure gold from the jeweler's carpet. All right, hallelujah, I'm done. I'm glad I was able to do this for the jeweler, but I don't ever want to see another piece of jeweler's carpet ever again. Look at that thing. All right, this will conclude the 4th and final episode of the jeweler's carpet recovery and refining video. Thanks for watching.